makes absolutely no sense for you to, on one hand, say you're standing up for women's rights and women's pay, and then on the other hand saying it's criminal that a biological man plays in women's sports. As you are competing in women's sports and not the NBA, if you felt like there was no difference, there was no advantages that men have, then why don't you play in the NBA?
At Dallas, this is her second stint with the
Rickea and Brittney Griner.
Griner and Jackson.
So Rickea Jackson just jumped headfirst into the Brittney Griner drama. And y'all, she didn't come empty-handed. She dropped a wild twist that finally explains the low-key tension that's been bubbling for years between her and Brittney. And yes, it's got everything to do with those wild rumors flying around about Brittney lately. More specifically, it's about how Rickea discovered the real Brittney Griner, not the carefully crafted image the WNBA pushes to fit its squeaky clean, ultra-progressive narrative.
Griner was caught on tape during a game with the Indiana Fever, dropping racial slurs against Caitlin Clark, and pretty obviously doing so.
Tech fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
And it doesn't take a lot of genius to lip read Brittney Griner, whose voice, by the way, is about as low as mine is, calling her trash and an effing white girl. Now, of course, if Caitlin Clark had ever suggested the same in reverse, using black as opposed to white in that sentence, that'd be the end of her WNBA career. But Brittney Griner is going strong.
Rickea had been holding on to this secret for a minute, unsure what to do with it. So she just kept her head in the game. Until now. But once people started labeling Rickea as the problem, she said, enough is enough. Now she's ready to let it all out and let the fans decide who's really causing the chaos. This WNBA mess got more twists than a soap opera, and it's heating up quick. In just a few months, the WNBA went from overlooked and kinda bland to being the most dramatic league out there. And now, two of the league's biggest names, Rickea Jackson and Brittney Griner, are straight up beefing, and it came out of nowhere. But Rickea ain't staying silent. She's pouring the tea, hot and unfiltered, and exposing how Brittney became the league's golden girl for all things woke. Rickea's like, how is it that one player can break clear rules around player eligibility and still walk around untouched? No fines, no suspension, no drama, nothing. That's exactly what Rickea is accusing Brittney of. But here's the real question. How did Rickea find out the truth about one of the WNBA's best-kept secrets? It all traces back to September of last year. Mercury versus Sparks. Things were already intense, and with just 20 seconds left before a break, Rickea and her teammate Lee Guru were doing a textbook box out on Brittney. Standard defense, nothing shady. Then boom! Out of nowhere, Brittney flings her elbow, and it lands smack on Rickea's face. Rickea wasn't about to just eat that. She immediately stepped to Brittney, and the two locked horns before the bench, and coaches pulled them apart. Both players got ejected, but when they came back next game, the vibe was off. The crowd made it very clear. They weren't riding with Brittney. Fans were shook. The whole fight made headlines. But what shocked everyone even more? Brittney's icy response afterward. She didn't apologize, didn't act like it mattered. Just brushed it off with, "It's basketball." Really? That's all? People expected some accountability, but Brittney stayed cool, like nothing happened. And that moment right there, that's when Rickea started asking questions, digging deeper, and what she uncovered left her stunned. Now she's spilling it all, and the league might not be ready for what's coming next. Things got real tense, but Brittney Griner tried to play it cool, saying, "It's nothing personal. I like Rickea. I like her game. No hard feelings, right? But let's be honest. When you throw an elbow in someone's face and act like it's just another day at the office, that ain't just part of the game. That's something way deeper. See, it's one thing to be physical. That's basketball. But deliberately hitting another player and brushing it off like it's no big deal? That crosses the line. That's not just bad sportsmanship. That's straight up spite. And everyone saw it happen live. But here's the wild part. That moment wasn't even the peak of this mess. Rickea wasn't some fresh-faced rookie. She'd been on the court long enough to know how tough things could get. But even she was caught off guard by how aggressive Brittney got during what should have been a normal play. That whole scene stuck in her head. It didn't sit right. And that's what sparked Rickea to dig deeper into who Brittney really is, and what she uncovered flipped everything upside down. Rickea had always known the WNBA kept some things under wraps, but she never thought she'd stumble across a bombshell like this. The idea that a player could be competing under false pretenses, that's a whole different level of scandal. And even worse, the league knew about it and chose to protect her anyway. Why? Just to maintain a certain image. Yep, the player being shielded by the league was none other than Brittney Griner. Suddenly, all the over-the-top aggression made perfect sense. Brittney wasn't just confident. She knew she had the league's top dogs backing her, no matter what she did on that court. And let's be real. Brittney's history isn't exactly clean when it comes to playing fair. Her career is packed with controversial moments, caught on camera multiple times. When teammates and opponents are all saying they've been injured by the same person, when players are walking off the court bruised up because of her constant elbows and shoves. Yeah, that's not just tough basketball. That's a pattern. The wildest part. People act like it's exaggerated, like fans are blowing it out of proportion, but the footage speaks for itself. You can literally see Brittney getting overly physical with player after player. And if you've even peeked at women's basketball recently, you've definitely seen those clips of Brittney going after Caitlin Clark like it's personal. That's not strategy, that's targeting. And Rickea saw through it all. Now she's pulling the curtain back, and fans are finally paying attention. Rickea had been paying close attention. All the bruises, all the fouls, all the weird moments that didn't quite make sense. Something felt off. She couldn't shake it. So the question became, how does Brittney keep walking away from these intense games untouched, while other players end up injured and benched for weeks? It didn't take long for whispers to turn into full-blown theories. The only logical explanation? Brittney's dominating the court not just with skill, but with a physical edge that most WNBA players simply don't have. And that's when people started asking, is Brittney really on a level playing field? Let's not sugarcoat it. This is exactly why men's and women's sports have always had separate divisions. It's not hate, it's not shade, it's based on real-deal science. Medical experts have spent decades studying athletes, everything from muscle density to recovery time, lung capacity, agility, weight, and height. The results? Men and women have different builds. That's why it's not considered fair to throw them into the same competitive space. It's not about one gender being better. It's about biology. It's about the numbers. And when one player in a women's league is constantly showing extreme physical dominance beyond even elite standards, people start connecting the dots. Then came a huge red flag that got the internet buzzing. That topless video Brittney posted online. Anyone else, any other female athlete, would have had their content pulled instantly for nudity violations. But Brittney's video? It stayed up. No flag, no takedown, not even a warning. Why? Some fans started saying, maybe the algorithm didn't recognize her body as female, so it just glitched and let it slide. Now here's where it gets even crazier. While digging deeper, Rickea allegedly came across some leaked medical documents, and what she saw confirmed every suspicion she'd had. According to what Rickea found, Brittney Griner might not be who the public's been told she is. But hold up, how did Rickea even get access to something like that? Well, what most fans don't know is that Rickea's not just a rising star. She's connected. Her insane talent fast-tracked her career, and in the process, she got real close with people behind the scenes at the WNBA. Execs, insiders, folks with power. So when she started asking questions about Brittney, the doors quietly opened. All it took was the right questions to the right people, and boom, the truth hit her like a freight train. After that, the tension between her and Brittney hit a whole new level. Their beef wasn't just personal anymore, it was exposing something bigger. And by mid-last year, things were spiraling out of control. By the time summer rolled around, the tension between Rickea and Brittney had reached boiling point. What started as on-court drama had turned into a full-blown Cold War behind the scenes, and the league. They were scrambling to keep things quiet. Rickea wasn't just mad about the hits or the fake smiles. She was furious that the truth was being buried just to protect the WNBA's public image. Behind closed doors, execs were begging her to let it go, promising her bigger endorsements and more visibility if she just stayed quiet. But Rickea, she's never been the type to play nice for a paycheck. And Brittney? She knew Rickea had the tea. The vibes were tense every time they crossed paths, on or off the court. The WNBA tried to act like everything was fine, even scheduling events where both women had to appear together. But fans could feel the energy. You could cut the tension with a knife. Then came the Media Day incident. Rickea and Brittney were supposed to take part in a joint interview, but Rickea straight up refused. Word leaked that she told organizers, "I'm not gonna sit next to someone living a double life while I'm being told to play dumb." Boom, that quote went everywhere. Suddenly, fans started pulling receipts. Clips of Brittney's past behavior were circulating again. Fouls, on-court aggression, suspicious moments that now looked very different in hindsight. People who once dismissed Rickea's attitude were now asking, wait, was she telling the truth this whole time? Even sports analysts started getting bold. One former coach went viral for saying the league has protected certain players for years, and it's finally catching up with them. The drama wasn't just affecting the players, it was shaking the whole league. Behind the scenes, execs were in panic mode. Sponsors were calling, coaches were whispering, players were choosing sides. And Rickea, she was doubling down, refusing to be silenced. She started hinting about going public with everything. And let's just say, the WNBA's PR team kicked into overdrive. Suddenly, statements were being crafted. Brittney was making calculated appearances, and everyone was talking about unity and sportsmanship. But the damage was already done. Fans wanted answers. And Rickea? She wasn't backing down. She had the info, the proof, and the platform. All that was left was for her to drop the bomb. At first, it looked like Rickea and Brittney had that classic friendly rivalry, fiery on the court, but chill once the game ended. They pushed each other's limits, but there was still respect, or so it seemed. But after Rickea uncovered what she did, that vibe disappeared fast. The bond shattered, and now they're straight-up enemies. What really got under Rickea's skin wasn't just that Brittney was allegedly bending the rules. It was the blatant protection she was getting from every direction. Rickea had receipts. And yet, it felt like no one cared. Like the truth didn't matter, because Brittney was being shielded. And not just by the WNBA, but by the entire system. Rickea started realizing this thing ran way deeper than just basketball. Even Stephen A. Smith chimed in recently, reminding folks that Brittney was once traded from a Russian prison in exchange for a convicted arms dealer nicknamed the Merchant of Death. Yeah, you heard that right. But somehow, that detail always gets swept under the rug by her defenders. And no one ever wants to answer the real question. In what world does a basketball player get swapped out for a literal terrorist? There had to be another option. But instead, someone caught trying to end innocent lives got a free pass, just so Brittney could come home. Why? Because keeping Brittney safe meant keeping something else hidden, something the public was never supposed to know. Imagine the fallout if fans found out they've been cheering for a player who isn't who they claim to be. The betrayal, the headlines, the lawsuits, the league could be tied up in court battles for decades, and the trust, gone. But Rickea? She's not done. Not even close. She's got her eyes on everyone in Brittney's inner circle, and the whispers are getting louder. Word is, she's planning to blow this thing wide open. The WNBA might be trying to silence her, but Rickea's on a mission. And when she finally drops everything she's holding, the fallout will be nuclear. Question is, will Brittney catch on before it's too late? Will she try to shut Rickea down before the truth gets out? Let us know what you think. Is the WNBA covering for Brittney Griner? And how deep do you think this rabbit hole goes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next scandal we expose. We've got way more drama coming your way, so stick around, and we'll see you in the next one.